What's up guys, today we have another projector from AAXA company. You know, this is one of my favorite brands, because they make really unique projectors. We have already tested AAXA projectors with DLP displays and built-in batteries on our channel Tech Brothers. However, the new projector, AAXA SLC450, doesn't have a built-in battery, and it uses a new silicon liquid crystal technology instead of DLP. This is completely new technology to me, and I am very interested in checking out the image quality. The other feature of the new AAXA projector include a native 1080p resolution, 450 LED Lumens brightness, short throw ratio, and Android operating system. By the way, this is also quite an affordable projector. You can buy it for just $219. So let's start the full review of the AAXA SLC450 projector by unboxing it. You know, I like AAXA projectors because they don't look like other cheap Chinese products. First, I like their packaging because we can read all the information about the projector on the box. As you can see, AAXA SLC450 is a short throw mini projector. On the back of the box, we can read all the specs of the projector. If the specs are not enough for you, you will find the user guide in the box. Then address the projector, power adapter, remote control, batteries, and a tripod in the box. By the way, the tripod looks very thin, but it is sturdy. We will check it out with the projector a little later. You know, all AAXA projectors are compact, but this one is the most compact I have tested. Its dimensions are only 129 by 103 by 40 mm. It also weighs 383 grams. It is a very compact projector, but I cannot call it portable because it doesn't have a built-in battery. Getting back to the tripod, given the size and weight of the projector, this tripod is more than enough. In addition, it is flexible, so you can position the projector at any angle. By the way, if I was shown this projector without the logo, I would definitely know it was AAXA, because the design is very recognizable. The AAXA SLC450 has a familiar rectangular shape of the previous models, such as AAXA M7 and AAXA P6X. The body of the new projector is made of gray plastic with a blue line all around. There is a lens and speaker on the front. We can also see 3 fans on the side. I am now worried about the projector not being noisy. We will check the noise level a little later. There is an IR receiver, TF card slot, USB port, and LED indicator on the back. The AAXA SLC450 has a power button, a DC port, HDMI port, and headphone jack on the side. There is also a focus adjustment wheel, but no keystone correction wheel. Most likely the projector uses digital keystone adjustment in the settings. We will check this later. The new AAXA projector has a touch control panel. I have already tested it, and it is very convenient to use if the projector is near you. If you place it somewhere farther away, for example on a shelf, you can use the remote control. The remote is made of cheap plastic, but I am surprised to see a mouse cursor button. It is very handy for navigating in the browser or other applications. So, first impressions of the AAXA SLC450 are very nice. Although the projector is lightweight and plastic, it is made with quality. Now, let's turn it on and look at the operating system. During the first startup, we are prompted to select the system language. The most popular languages are available here. The user interface of the AAXA SLC450 is the same as the previous projector I tested, AAXA P6 Ultimate. On the home screen, we can see the model name of the projector SLC450. Then we can go to streaming services, files, and inputs. We will test screen mirroring and connect to Wi-Fi network a little later. The AAXA SLC450 has an Office app to project documents to TV. However, first you need to connect the projector to a Wi-Fi network. The browser also requires a Wi-Fi connection. there is a menu with all apps on the projector, such as browser, Android mirroring, YouTube, Bluetooth speaker, settings, multimedia player, App Store, WPS projector, Prime Video, Disney+, AR screen, Netflix, AR Pin, ESPN, HBO Max, and Hulu. As you understand, you need to connect to Wi-Fi to use most of these apps. Let's do that. Go back to the home screen and enter Wi-Fi setup. Now you can turn on Wi-Fi and refresh the available networks. Finally, select your Wi-Fi network and enter a password from it. And that's it. Now you can go into the Office app and scan the QR code with the smartphone to project documents to TV. You can also use the browser to visit websites, for example, our blog. Streaming services are also available, such as YouTube, HBO, Disney+, Netflix, Prime Video, and Hulu. By the way, if you are missing some app, you can go to App Store and search for it there. It is not a Google Play Store, but there are still many apps available here. Now let's go to the settings menu of the AAXA SLC450 projector. First, we can choose brightness mode from Eco, Standard, and Boost. And then we have wireless settings. I have already shown you how to connect to Wi-Fi. The advanced settings include boot signal input, boot up, power on mode, key tone, screensaver, timeout, shutdown, HDMI control, and restore factory settings. After that, you can change the system language on the projector. The display or projection settings have projection mode, zoom in out, keystone correction, vertical correction, horizontal correction, corner correction, and keystone correction reset. The AAXA SLC450 also supports Bluetooth, but we will check it out a little later. The backup and reset function allows you to quickly restore factory settings. By the way, if you go to the About section, you will see the Android 9.0 version, as well as 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of internal memory. If you want even more settings, press the button on the remote control. Here we can change the brightness again. Select Image Mode, color temperature, sound mode, surround sound, shutdown timer, and projection settings. Okay, now let's see how to use screen mirroring on the AAXA SLC450 projector. First, go to the mirroring from the home screen. Now you can select Android or iOS, depending on what smartphone you have. There are many complicated settings here. But you just need to take your smartphone, go to screen mirroring, and select the ATV7 device. You may have a different name for it. Now you can run any apps on your smartphone and watch them on a big screen, for example, Instagram or YouTube. Features of Z+B3 is a voice calling, so it has a built-in microphone and speaker. We will test the phone calls a little later in this video. Overall, the new Z+ smartwatch looks very good. The AAXA SLC450 projector also supports Bluetooth, so you can connect wireless earbuds or external speakers to it. For that, go to the settings menu, Bluetooth, enable Bluetooth, and search for the new devices. In my case, it is Apple AirPods. They have been successfully connected. I was very surprised to see a Bluetooth speaker mode on this projector. To be honest, I wasn't expecting a high-quality built-in speaker in the AAXA SLC450 because it is very compact, so I didn't see the point of using the projector as a Bluetooth speaker. However, you can do that if you want. When your smartphone is connected to the projector, the music is playing. You can turn it off the screen to extend the lamp life. You know, the overall sound quality of the AAXA SLC450 built-in speaker isn't bad. It has really good bass for such a small device. However, the volume is not enough for a large room. Let's listen to a few more songs. Remember I told you that the projector has 3 fans. I want to check the noise level, so it is about 53 decibels near the projector. However, if you move 1 meter away, the noise level is 46 decibels. You know, the AAXA SLC450 is not very loud, but it is not the quietest either. One of the main features of the new AAXA projector is a short throw ratio. I haven't tested ultra-short throw projectors yet, so the AAXA SLC450 probably has the shortest throw ratio of any I have tested. I placed the projector only 1.5 meters away from the wall and got a 100-inch screen. If you place the projector further away from the wall, for example 3 meters, you get a 200-inch screen. That's very cool. Most other projectors make a 100-inch screen at 3 meters, while the AAXA SLC450 has a 200-inch screen. I have tested many budget projectors on our channel Tech Brothers, and most of them have a one LCD sensor. LCD stands for liquid crystal display. As for the new AAXA projector, it uses silicon liquid crystal technology as well as RGB LEDs. They claim to provide softer pixels, deeper blacks, and sharper clarity. The contrast ratio of the AAXA SLC450 is 1000 to 1. I think the colors are really good for such a compact projector. By the way, I connected my laptop to the projector via HDMI cable. We can see 1080p HD resolution in the corner of the screen. The manufacturer also claims the native resolution of the AAXA SLC450 is 1080p. However, if we look very close at the projection, you can see pixelization, especially on the text or logo of our YouTube channel. Nevertheless, the image is clear around all edges. The brightness of the AAXA SLC450 projector is 450 LED lumens. I think this is enough for a budget projector. A night city or a thunderstorm looks very good.
Hungry little guy?
The biggest and most prestigious auction house in Paris. Across the street lives Monsieur Polignac, director of the auction house.
What is this place?
The Mirror Dimension. attention. Prime in control.
The last one, that's the way he usually runs out streaky.
But Fred's still going with the one big player, Gerbert. Wonder if they might look at changing that as decolor drives.
And that went off out of bio, but they say it was forced out by Gobert.
Oh, here's another chance, and it's Haaland. Not a chance, really. So in his repertoire, maybe eight-tenths of a chance.
Biggest SUVs in Europe with 7 seats and masses of room for occupants and cargo. If you're looking for an extra large, carry everything, go anywhere monster, they don't come much better than this, probably.
Even though its starting price puts it between the Ghost and the Phantom, the Spectre, in more ways than one, is a successor to the Phantom Coupe.
If you want to watch Projector in a room with light, you will get an image like this. Overall, the projection is visible, but it is better to provide the darkest possible environment. So to summarize, let me tell you what I liked about the AAXA SLC450 projector and what could be improved. First, I like the compact size of this projector. Also, it is not portable because it doesn't have a built-in battery. It is convenient to carry around. The image quality, colors and brightness are very good for a budget projector. However, I was more surprised by the throw ratio. Even in a small room, you can get a big screen. You know, the AAXA SLC450 has an Android operating system with App Store and popular streaming services, but I would like it to have an Android TV or a Google TV. You can do this by connecting the TV stick. I also miss the volume of the built-in speaker. Also, its quality is pretty good. If you wish, you can connect external speakers to the projector. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon!